Hi, so this is a response video to Mama Dr. Jones, where she talks about abortion, and it's quite bad because she essentially supports infanticide in her video, which I'm quite concerned about. And I wanted to go over some of her comments and actually reflect on them in line with some of the legal requirements spoken about within the USA.
The transparency of what they're sharing, but also only 1.5% of terminations happen after 20 weeks. Viability is like 23 weeks. There are situations of survival less than that, but that is pretty rare. It's a gray area. All right, I get that. But any abortion happening after 20 weeks, first off, is going to be rare. Second, many of them, especially in the ones who are born alive, are going to be having abortions for lethal anomalies and be induced. This is still considered an abortion. It is something that in Texas was even very hard for me to have done for my patients who had babies who had been diagnosed with lethal anomalies that would mean that they don't get to live a life after they're born. If they survive up to the time of birth, that they will die during the process of or soon after. This law, and the reason that I think this is a dangerous thing to put into place, especially because it's written in a way that makes people think they're doing something really good because of the way that it's written, the danger is that then you are required to provide care to babies who are born alive. You don't give these families the opportunity. So let's take anencephaly, for example. Anencephaly is a situation where a baby develops with no brain, but it still has a brainstem. The brainstem is required for your autonomic function, breathing, and things like that. So they can live for a while, and if put on a life support machine, they can live indefinitely, but they don't have a brain. So not only do they not have brain function, they don't have a physical brain or a covering on their head. That doesn't make that any less important to a family who would like to deliver and hold and care for their baby at whatever gestational age they choose. That is still a valid choice and something that people should have the opportunity to do if that's what they want. But forcing doctors to take that baby who could be born alive and provide life-saving care not only prolongs a, I think, inhumane torture process for these babies, but it takes it away from the family, even if the family doesn't want that to happen. So that is a crazy thing to do. And the situations where...
So in this piece, she is basically saying that infants born alive to abortions, such as induced labor abortion, would actually wouldn't be given palliative care, but will be given intensive care instead. And this is completely untrue, because the law, as it states, just basically says that infants should be given the same amount of care as if they'd been born alive, or if they'd been born normally, right? It doesn't actually give special care to infants that are born alive in and have the same conditions as infants that are just born through normal delivery. All infants that are born with anencephaly are actually given palliative care. They're not given intensive care. If you read any articles about infants with anencephaly, they're all given palliative care. And this is basically what the Congress law states. It says that, as stated in the Congress laws, exercise the same degree of professional skill, care, and due diligence to preserve the life and health of a child as reasonably due diligent and as a reasonably due diligent and conscientious healthcare professional would render any child born alive at the same gestational age. So basically, you're just giving the same care to a kid born with anencephaly that's born alive from an abortion as you would for a child born with anencephaly that was born from a from a wanted pregnancy. That's all that the law's saying. It's not saying that you should give some special provisions to a child born alive with anencephaly. That's not what it's saying at all. And to be honest, they've had born alive laws since 2002, and since 2002, we've given, healthcare professionals have given palliative care to children with anencephaly, and that's what they do. That's normally the route that their parents go down. The route that their parents go down is to give them palliative care, which means pain relief, which means things like giving them the best life that they can possibly have in the short amount of life that they have, and then sadly they die. I mean, that's what happens. There isn't some kind of special provision for children with anencephaly that are born in situations where they're born alive. They're not taken away from their parents. They're not put in intensive care. It's the same provisions.
But it seems like they didn't want their state constitution amended. Voters in Montana rejected the Born Alive Infant Protection Act, rejected in Montana. This law would require medical care to be provided to infants born alive after induced labor, C-section, attempted abortion, or other method. Okay, all right. This is a propaganda tool as well to say that there are situations where someone goes in to try and have an abortion and, oopsie, we messed up, and we have now a viable baby born who is just going to be let die. That does not happen. This is wild, okay? You may find a situation where someone has described that happening, and first off, I would question exactly the transparency of what they're.
So I also find her comments intellectually dishonest, to be honest. And I find them intellectually dishonest because one of the main groups that these abortion laws protect aren't just kids born from botched abortions at medical centres, but also from people that had tried to abort their children at home by themselves. So it's botched abortions by medical professionals and botched abortions by women wanting to have an abortion, let's say, at a later stage than they're supposed to. And there are countless examples of children that are denied any type of medical care from botched abortions. They've been denied both palliative and also intensive care, which they really need. And it's not only children with anencephaly who are born in terms of late-term abortions. There are countless children who are born in the case of late-term abortions, such as children with minor disabilities, such as Down syndrome or cerebral palsy, which aren't in any way fatal and which you can live a full and happy life with. One of the stories of a child born that this law is trying to protect from a botched abortion is the story of Tim. Now, Tim was an infant born in Germany, and he survived an abortion and was still moving and breathing. But they believed he would die anyway, so they left him in a towel without any medical assistance for 9 hours. However, one of the nurses took pity on him and essentially looked after the infant before medical professionals doctors would give him medical attention. He was then adopted by a family, and in addition to his Down syndrome, because of the abortion, he suffered severe damage to his eyes, brain and lungs. However, he loved animals, and he learnt to fine-tune his motor and speech skills through dolphin therapy. And I thought that was like a really cute story of a boy who'd been saved from a botched abortion. And there are countless examples of that. And I think if you tell medical professionals that it's okay to leave babies in towels to die, that is completely unreasonable. And essentially by promoting the fact that by promoting your ideas surrounding the fact that you think we shouldn't have any laws surrounding abortion, we shouldn't have laws to protect babies in Tim's position, is mind-blowing, and it's essentially just promoting infanticide. I mean, I don't know that there's any way around that. In some states in America, it is legal to have an abortion for any reason up to birth. And I think that that's completely unreasonable. It's unreasonable to just decide that you want an abortion because your circumstances have changed and now you're a single parent or something like that. That's not reasonable at 32 weeks. That's not reasonable at 28 weeks. You shouldn't have that option. And the Born Alive bill is intended to protect babies that are born from botched abortions, either in medical situations or at home. And there will be a lot more of these. I mean, there was an example of a woman who she had an abortion at 32 weeks using the abortion pill, which was sent to her via post. And it's to protect babies born in those situations. If the baby was born alive, it would be to protect her baby, to give it the care that it needed, as opposed to just leaving it to die. And I just wanted to reflect on that video and talk about it. And thank you for listening. If there are any questions or any comments, please leave them down below. Please like and subscribe for more videos. And yeah, see you guys in another one.